I guess I should have queued intros. I didn't because I'm amazing. So we're just going to hop directly into the load screen here for the first game of the Corsair Cup.
Good deal.
Now, I'm actually looking at the side of this bracket, and what's very interesting to me is the way this plays out, this entire portion of the bracket. Okay, Semper versus Neeb technically maybe round 2. That's cool. Then Neeb versus Bly round 4. Then Beastie versus Snoot potentially round 4 as well into a really awesome semifinals match. I'm really hoping at the end of it we get Neeb versus Snoot, but not to take any credit away from the bottom half of the bracket. You got Jim Rising and Namshar, Euthermal and Major, Goblin and Guru. Like, there's actually this is probably the best turnout for the Corsair Cup we've seen in a while.
Yep. Definitely.
But let's get into the introductions. Spawning here on the bottom right side of the map. He's one of the mods here on BaseTradeTV and longtime Zerg fan Ekkiejj, or Ekkiejj, as I'm going to be referring to him because I can never say his name correctly.
In the top left, as the red Terran, he is Semper.
Okay, now there's a lot to be said about Semper. This guy was our beta hero. He was looking really good for a while. Really rising amongst the ranks, and even his PvT, despite him feeling like he had no confidence in it, still managed to play out not too badly. But as we said prior to the cast, it's been a few, we'll say months even, since we've really seen solid showings out of Semper. I'm fairly certain that's because of school. I don't think he just like casually stopped playing StarCraft, but it is nice to see him competing in our weekly cups again, and I do really want to see him do well today.
Thanks to Ilta77 for the 17-month resub.
Ilta's hype.
I agree. I think it was just school. I mean, it's been 7 years since high school, and college is a little different, right? So I keep forgetting that, like, you know, there's finals times, or there's midterm time, or there's like prom season when you go to like the department store and they have like all the gowns and shit. So, of course, for the last couple of months, different schools, different colleges have been having different timed exams, and I'm sure that's a lot of reason why various NA players haven't been participating. But now I'm pretty sure everything is out. Colleges usually end, like, in May, and regular school definitely ends some mid or before mid-June. So, we should see a lot of more NA players, which is great.
If that's the case, I would love to be able to resurrect some of the NA Cups, potentially. Chairs for gaming cups, and maybe even make a Corsair one go NA once in a while. But the problem is, for the last 6 months, honestly, the only showings we've had from anybody anywhere has been Europe. So I'm deadly serious when I say if players like Semper and Neeb and others are more readily available, I would love to start making NA server cups again.
Yeah, that's usually the biggest problem, is just the disappointment at seeing low signups for tournaments. I mean, the viewership is almost always lower for an NA Cup, but that isn't even... It's not even, like, the worst part. It is definitely the signups being, like, 2 pros, 1 European that's, like, stayed up really late, and, like, a Korean that's like, yay, this is early for me.
Yeah, just a bit of a history recap here, too, for those who don't know. The reason we stopped doing NA Cups was partially, but really not influenced heavily by the viewership. It was always lower viewership, and we know that. But it was because we had no players signing up. It just sucked having cups that had, like, you know, there's no Puck, there's no Huck, there's no Masa. There's just nobody from North America playing.
Yeah. This is one Reaper there. But in this game, Semper. Well, hindsight 2020. Semper does go for like a 3 CC build off the back of double Reaper or reacted Reaper. So he has 2 more on the way. That would have been 6. Oh well, now it's 5.
There was also 2 more on the way. Then it got picked off.
Man, it's so weird talking. Like, I know I'm not terrible at enunciating things with my numb cheek, but it feels like I should be.
I gotta put your camera above. I gotta watch you during this cast. I never do this. Your camera's usually hidden behind all the other windows, and I gotta see this.
It feels like I really should be pronouncing everything wrong, like especially my P's and my O's.
Well, when you think about it, most of the sounds are either tongue/lips, anyways. So
it just feels like it should be bad, you know? Like it just it's weird. But oh well. I'll live.
Nice round out of Ekkiejj. Gets on top of those Reapers pretty quickly. Grenades go off, but of course, Semper wasn't banking too heavily on this. As noted, it was only like 1 reactor, pumped down a couple of Reapers. He put down the 3rd CC already. His barracks all finished up. It's actually kind of funny to see the barracks emphasis production rather than the factory. It's not like when he got over here, he scouted a big Roach War and was expecting it all in. He's just chosen to do this This is somewhat odd build order. Not that it's ineffective or bad, but this will give him faster stim. Maybe he's going for one of those early pushes. The only reason they call it odd, though, is because of the third CC being put down so quickly.
This was very non-tech based, which is something we saw a lot in the beginning of Legacy of the Void, which might make sense. Maybe Semper is using older builds. I'm pretty sure he's been playing at least somewhat throughout, the last 5 months, but he might still be using his older build he's more comfortable with. Because more what we see now is still not Hellions. Like, Hellions are still kind of, they're definitely not as good as they used to be. But for sure, like a Widowmine drop into a tank drop, or just tanks in general opening first. A couple of the Cloaked Banshee builds are coming back. Basically any sort of tech, not 3CC into bio into tech. But, I mean, he's getting away with it. The Reapers worked out well enough. Ekkiejj never thought of counterattacking.
None of our mods here, what's
that? Ekkiejj was. And I was. Yeah. I guess they're the ones awake so far. Usually European times are pretty good for our mods, but I guess everyone's busy with real life. The bets will be going soon.
Yeah, sorry, I just got them back. They'll be closing by the time you hear this because of stream delay. It sucks for me to try and do this because I gotta go over to the other computer, but anyways, getting back on point for the game. Luckily, nothing was really going on when I decided to completely walk up and walk away, but we're moving towards the infestation pit. We're probably going to sail safely towards Hive, and this is going to answer and perhaps provide an interesting scenario where we're constantly talking about, like, can Terran players really deal with the late game, and what is the best answer to that? There's, like, varying opinions on Liberators versus Ghosts. I think everyone pretty much unanimously agrees, like, they wish Siege tanks could be the answer, but they usually aren't. And, of course, even Mass Bio with Focus Fire doesn't quite cut it anymore, but I'm really curious to see how Semper plays against this. If he is playing a little bit more old school, like let's rewind for a moment, assume he is playing with the mentality that is, say, 3 months ago, then we'll probably see Ghosts without a doubt. Because it's only been more, within the last few months, we've seen people try to force Liberators as Ghosts became more and more exiled by the fungal growths and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, it really, I think it depends on the Forerunner, like, what good Terran is using what. So, like, Yun is using Ghost really well, so people started using Ghost. BCQD maybe was using Liberators when he was turtled, so maybe more people started using Liberators.
No, yeah,
something like that, but it does seem like the swap, because I don't think either one are a true answer, unfortunately. Like, I think that Terrans are in a really sticky spot in that late game, but...
So when it comes to Ghosts, too... Oh, okay, this is not going to be a bad engagement, but walks away. Double drop heading towards the south, too. Obviously, the best answer is kill them before they get to that point. But I will say my favorite things that we've seen are, like, combination of the tanks, Zone out the Infestors, and Ghosts for the snipes. But those are really pretty perfect scenarios that don't happen too often.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone's arguing, really, that defensively Terran does fine. It's really when they push out and try and win the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually get surrounded and whatnot. But... Anyway, drops do a great job at forcing defense, so you can you don't get as many Ultralisk or as many Infestors.
You know what I'm just realizing through timing?
What's that?
I think the Ultralisk Cavern's going to complete before Combat Shields does.
Really? Combat Shields was faster upgrade than that. Well,
I mean, a lot of this was delayed because of his opening, but not that that's a bad thing. He's getting damage in without combat shields. That's even more impressive. These Marines are missing 10 health on all these drops, and he's still double dropping while this goes on. Ekkiejj's got fungal growth ready to go. This will lock down the Marines on the north side, at least take care of one of these problems. But, of course, there's still some pretty big attacks in the south. Nice pickoffs with those medevacs. Ravagers are a hell of a drag.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately, our mod here just didn't have quite enough units to prep him against double drops. Because, I mean, part of the reason he lost that fourth is that he was afraid the other drop would go into his natural and kill more. So, still losing units to this. He did have his own counterattack. It killed actually quite a few SCVs, but not quite the same as losing an entire base.
Oh, the Overlords. Oh, no. That's the supply block for the Ultras.
Yep. And there's only one Ultra on the way. I mean, this isn't too really scary.
Alright, well, Ekkiejj gonna try and get a fungal. Will lock down one of the medevacs, but there's no corrosive bow follow-up, so oops. As he looks towards the main, the Ultras gets picked off. No chitinous plating, no way to actually survive through that. I mean, he was so close to hitting that point in the game where he was just gonna have a good, like, Hive tech, good late game, gets to the Hive around 8.5 minutes. I mean, that's kind of the Zerg dream right there. Just very unfortunate it took so much damage leading into it and alongside with it.
Yep. Seems to be the best way for Terrans to get damage done. double, triple drops even while the Ultra's Cavern is on the way. Because, I mean, really, if you push out and they see that, they can still max a good Roach Ravager Ling army. I mean, that's what we've been seeing Nurchio do, right? Of course, Ekkiejj is not like a pro gamer. He's not Nurchio, so he would have, missed a couple of rounds of unit production and whatnot. But still, same idea. GG.
GG. Game number 1 gonna go to Semper. But it is a best of 3, and maybe we'll see Ekkiejj climb back. I mean, really, it wasn't a lot of mistakes that went badly for him, and you could even agree, or even argue, if you didn't just rush to Hive, you may have had more units to defend than multiple bases with. I don't know, but let's see what the next map's going to be.
King Sejong.
All right, and I don't have an intro for this one either. We'll do our first break today, and then I'll load up the intros, because I didn't do that on account of the fact that I was doing co-op before the stream today. My bad, guys.
Oh, that's right. Carefully drink.
How's that cheek treating you?
I kind of have to drink to the side of my mouth.
I noticed you tilting your head. You're like, this please go on the other cheek. Oh, Corsair retweeted my really stupid selfie. Nice. Nailed it. I will say, my favorite thing about the Corsair stuff, even though it has nothing to do with performance, has got to be the lighting. I love playing around with the lights. There's this one mode where you can get this one profile you can download, which makes it an equalizer, so your keyboard lighting will jump up and down to the music you're listening to. It's pretty trippy. But of course, Corsair giving us these awesome hoodies too. I gotta say, I wasn't super convinced on the way it looks. Like the colors and all that, but I love the way it feels. It's so comfy. It's so soft.
It's nice. It's a nice texture for sure. I end up getting a size too large, but that's fine for wearing it around.
I was gonna say, then you just get a really snuggly little jacket, and it's nice for lounging around in.
I have so many of those.
All right, well, spawning here on the bottom right side of the map, he's gonna be one of the mods from BaseTradeTV. He's the purple Zerg player, Ekkiejj.
In the top left, as the red Terran, he is Semper.
All right, so Semper made that game look kind of easy. He did have a bit of an unorthodox build, and I would love to see if he could pull off similar things versus anyone else. But the problem we're going to run into is, let's say he does steamroll Ekkiejj, and this ends up being a 2-0. It's going to be super awkward when he goes up next against Neeb to see how that plays out. Because in the beta, before we really saw Neeb shine and see him be the badass that he was, Semper was the up-and-coming star, making players like Huck and others look silly and doing really good in TVP over there. But things have changed a lot, and Neeb took out Beyond 4-0, so I don't think I'm going to be betting against Neeb anytime soon, not in PvT.
No, he looks pretty damn good. He did 2-0 his opponent already. Other advancements include Guru and Solo and Raynor. I mean, basically all makes sense, right?
Awesome.
I mean, that's what seeding does. But a lot of good players today. It's really nice. What's interesting, too, is Semper goes up against Neeb. We can just go to the NA server.
That's true, yeah.
No reason to stay on here.
Force them both to just lag for no good reason. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right? I mean, it's kind of rare, because as we were saying, it's usually Europeans. It's usually, if there's an NA tournament, we go to EU all the time, but
yeah,
very rarely do we have to go to NA.
By the way, super special thank you to all those tuning in today. I know E3 is going on. There's some pretty cool presentations and all that. I'm glad some of you guys still want to see some StarCraft. We got a donation coming in from... That's weird. It's not showing. I heard the sound. I definitely heard the John Cena adjutant.
I got it. Dr. Fink donated $2. I've never donated to you because I was that poor college guy. But as of yesterday, I'm done. I've watched BaseTradeTV since the beginning, I assume, and you guys have always been there on my number 2 screen. I'm donating to thank you for getting me through uni. Thank you very much. Woohoo!
Hey man, congratulations and congrats on graduating. Thank you very much for the donation also. You poor college kid, you. Man, think of all the hundreds and thousands of dollars you're going to save not having to buy textbooks anymore. How great is that?
I'll go to your student loans.
Yeah. Oh, rest in pepperonis.
College humor. Oh, I finally got that. No, I'm just kidding.
Stop. Just stop. All right, King Sejong, of course, has this sweet little spot you can stick an Overlord, so he's going to have vision of the front of Semper's base for a little bit of time. takes his own third, and this time there's not like 6 or 7 Reapers he's dancing around with, so not so much troubles here in the early game.
No. But that is Semper's go-to build, I suppose, when he wants to go for a little bit of greed. This game, he is doing the more like current way of opening, which is getting up to that starport, getting a tank. This gives you a lot of safety in the defense and a little bit of pressure if you really want to use it as a tank drop. And if you really want to be obnoxious, you can abuse King Sejong specifically with building a bunker to the right and then
over
putting
here?
your tanks
Yeah.
over there. The Reaper went there to check maybe to see if the rocks are being broken down or if the third is over there already, maybe, but it's not. So that is an open position for Semper to try and abuse.
It's it's almost getting to that point where we're past King Sejong being new. It's been on the ladder for long enough. Everyone should know these tricks. And I would be surprised if he got away with it.
I think the problem is that even like back in the day, I mean, you could still do it. It usually was getting cleaned up pretty easily, but it was usually a really good test of your opponent. Like,
True
can you
enough.
deal with this? Nope. Okay, I guess I'll just, win eventually.
Well, first tank is on its way, and we'll see if, yeah, it looks like it's rallied over to that right side of the rocks. A little surprised Ekkiejj didn't tear these down as quickly as possible, but even then, Ravagers are a much better response than they ever were in the past. Zerg didn't have that tool to shoot over these rocks so easily before. Now he's going to take some damage before he gets them out, but the Roaches are hatching as we speak. Ravagers can get popped, and this shouldn't be too bad. Definitely annoying, though, with some of his mineral line being denied like this. Can just transfer down here to the third.
Yeah, good. This is not a bunker going down. I mean, this is even on the way. I guess a Liberator could join here, and that's pretty annoying, but this isn't the same solidified position I was thinking of. It is definitely doing some damage to Semper, though.
Yeah, I mean, we see a lot more dedicated versions of this. You got bunkers that come down, even missile turrets that get built, but this is just one tank harass.
Yeah. It's messing Semper up, or Ekkiejj up, but I mean, really, this should just be a case of him probably ignoring it. Yeah, if you can get Ravager shots like that, then great, fantastic. Really shouldn't happen, though. But until you have either Spire, and some people are going to go into Spire because they know exactly what's going to happen, like this specific tactic, or just eventually wrapping around and taking care of it, it's going to sit there and be annoying, so... Just drone your third base up and try and hope it doesn't do too much damage.
I just had a severe case of the memories, I guess you could say. There's like early versions of King Sejong that were a little bit buggy. I remember watching a game of Puck where he was able to drop a Colossus on this little ramp thing, on the little platform. I was just thinking to myself, like, what if tanks could do that in this position? How gross that would be, but... working on knocking down the rocks a little bit too close, so the tank's getting some shots off. Once again, going to try and cross the pilot. Looks like he will get the kill. Oh, that pickup was so sick.
Oh, yeah. Again, Ling's going around the back, since this isn't a bunker and Marines and a missile turret, could also deal with this.
Yeah.
And it'd probably be a better option at this point.
Now, double Eva chamber got scanned, but didn't see the infestation pit. So Semper still questioning like when that layer tech turns into hive tech, but I gotta say, this tank, while not killing a lot, has certainly done a lot of damage. I mean, deny one of the gas geysers up to 11 kills between random drones and Lings. I mean, this has not been a very great defense against one. Oh, he even killed a Ravager, I didn't realize. 2 Ravagers almost. This tank has done way too much damage, while back at home, he's not had to spend an ounce of pressure elsewhere.
Yeah. And guaranteed that messed Ekkiejj's build up somewhat.
I mean, there was a single Liberator floating around, but that got picked off pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. I really wish Ekkiejj would just send those Lings to the back.
I know, all the way around.
You can also commit to the breaking on the rocks, but...
I know, he's like halfway between both. That's what's killing me watching this.
So close. Just do it. Just break free. Break free!
He finally breaks free, but now there's a problem here on the left side of the map. There's a lot of medevacs coming, and there's no Banling nest. There's no Banlings. It's just a lot of Lings and a lot of really hurt Ravagers. This tank still hasn't been fully cleaned up yet, which is another problem altogether. So 4th base looks like it's going to go down.
I'm not sure. Okay, well, these are without combat shields and without +1 armor, so I guess Semper also gave up a couple of macro things to do that.
This was, of course, Ekkiejj rushing to Hive again, so he's going to be coming up on Hive tech in a moment's time. Once again, beating combat shields, which is always funny to see, but did he take too much damage on the road to getting here? That's the real question. Of course, as he ran to the main, the medevacs could just unload the low ground. He knows this as well, so moves some units. Nice positioning. Of course, the battles aren't too bad. Takes out one of the medevacs.
That was not worth it by Semper. He could have just, I mean, really just leave, drop again, and then meet up with your reinforcements would have gone a lot better.
You know what? Look at that bank out of Ekkiejj, too. That Ultras cabin starts. He's going to be able to build some Ultras right off the bat. This is, for as weird as the damage is that he took this game, he's managed it somewhat decently.
Yeah.
This one tank, though, is seriously still on MVP status. It should not be getting away as much as it is.
Yeah. I'm actually, I guess I could,
43 kills! 43 kills on that thing!
Yeah. It's actually Semper who kind of missed a couple of really important macro points. Like, I'm pretty sure his 1-1 could have been synced up together with how much pressure he was giving. It should have been like double engineering base right off the bat. Yeah. And combat shields, well, I don't know about that. He hasn't been going for double tech lab, but that was also an option, going for 2 Marauders, or at least 1 Marauder. He's not going for any Marauders at all, but anyway, it's kind of nitpicking. Really, the drop was pretty terrible. I mean, that's not nitpicking. That was just true.
Yeah.
But he has macro going on his side, and he's going to do this push before chitinous plating is done.
I truly can't blame him for that drop, though, because you got to consider how bad Ekkiejj was handling everything up to that position. I think you, as a Terran player, just kind of roll your eyes and like, I can get away with whatever I'd like. Even though we know that's not the case, and that's not how that went down. Combat Shells finishes up. Marine's going to back away from this fight. Don't want to take it just yet. That tank... wait, where's the MVP badass tank? Oh, did it die? No. Where is it? There we go, up here. I think? No. I don't know where that tank went. It's got so many kills on it, unless he repaired it. Anyways, point aside, we got 4 Ultras in play. Chitinous Plating finishes up in a second, and as you noted, there's no Marauders. So, oh, there we go. He did heal up. 45 kills. There's not going to be enough tanks for this. Without a doubt, there's not going to be enough tanks for this.
No!
No! Man! What a lame way to lose that tank. I thought that was going to be like the backbone of the Ultralisk army. He's got all the experience and... Nope.
Nope.
Now, I really hope Ekkiejj knows about his timing here. If he waits an extra 9 seconds, he'll take an infinitely better fight thanks to the armor upgrades on those Ultras.
Yep. Yep. And maybe we would counterattack and win. I don't know. This is a very bad anti-Ultra army. There are any Banelings in here, and everything would just be going to shit.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm surprised there's no Banelings for the assists or the support, but either way, the Ultras have got the damage if they can get on top of that army. Now, Semper's going to go for drop, and Ekkiejj's got to pick. Does he come back to defend, or does he go for the attack? It looks like he's going to split his forces. I'm not sure this will be enough links to clean this up.
Well, they're all choked in.
Actually,
they have upgrades equal to the Marines.
It's not going too badly despite the medevacs. This leaves now free reign on the other side of the map. Looks like the Lings get a little ahead of the Ultras. This is a problem because the Ultras should be soaking the hits for those Lings, but production... Oh gosh, there's a lot of depots up here too. This could supply block him depending on how this fight goes. Marines just kind of tickling away at the Ultras. A couple Ravagers should be able to deal with those Liberators. Liberators are the only real threat to these Ultras, but he just kind of gives them away. So despite having these really badass units, Ekkiejj, he comes in here and just handles them poorly.
Yeah, he is down 60 supply, still down 40 army supply, and Ekkiejj is, I mean, despite getting Ultra, is still not looking too good. Only 39 drones as well, so it's really not very consistent income, and definitely Semper is winning the income advantage.
That being said, though, cost efficiency still could go towards Ekkiejj. I mean, in all seriousness, like, I don't want to make light of how strong the Ultralisks are. If he starts handling this better, nope, this is going to tap out. All right. GG gets called, and Semper will advance on to fight against Neeb. So we will tell these guys we can just go play on the North American server. I know Neeb has expressed many times in the past he doesn't care about playing on Europe. Doesn't affect him, doesn't bother him, but Semper is probably someone who would certainly enjoy the North American server. So we'll head on over that direction. Before we go to our ad break, just again, reminder, thank you guys. Thank you, Corsair, for making all this possible. Every single week, every Monday, we've been here casting StarCraft for over 2 years, and of course, it's the last several months that we've been able to do it with Corsair. I think this is like the 23rd Corsair Cup or something like that, and I hope that we see many, many more beyond it. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to check out some of the Corsair gear, look on the overlay, click on the links down below, check out their store. But we'll be back in a couple of minutes. See you guys soon.